You wanted the best. You've got the best podcast. The hottest podcast in the world. The Chris Voss Show, the preeminent podcast with guests so smart you may experience serious brain bleed. The CEOs, authors, thought leaders, visionaries, and motivators. Get ready. Strap yourself in. Keep your hands, arms, and legs inside the vehicle at all times, because you're about to go on a monster education roller coaster with your brain. Now, here's your host, Chris Voss.
Hello, Chris Voss here from the ChrisVossShow.com. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. The Iron Lady sings that makes it official. Welcome to the big show. As always, for 16 years and 24 episodes, we're bringing you 10 to 15 new amazing guests, people that will improve your quality of your life, inspire you, give you, tell you their stories, their lessons of life. And of course, we'll talk about all sorts of different subjects. You know, when you get done listening to the Chris Voss Show, you're like Einstein. Your head is big and filled with all this positive information. You know, you can just walk around and people will bow before you. No, they won't, but you can ask them to if you want, I suppose. Anyway, but you know what you can do? You know what you can do? You know what you can do? You can send them to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, LinkedIn.com/Chris Voss, Chris Voss One, the TikTokity, and all those crazy places on the internet. Today we have an amazing young man on the show. We're going to be talking about his insights and experience of life. We have Barry Leonardini on the show. He has written the book called Jesus and Peter, A Different View of Christ in His Catholic Church, out March 1st, 2021. Barry, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm glad to be here. It's entertaining. You got a hell of a show.
We do. We've done this once or twice before. Give us give us your .coms. Where on the internet do you want people to get to know you better?
Well, I'm on Facebook under simple Barry Leonardini. I've got my book on books. I got 5 books. They go from comedy to philosophy. They're on Amazon, and I've been writing blogs since 2002. I've got almost 1,700 that cover all subjects. There's so many things going on that if I don't express myself, my head will explode. So I just do blogs, and quite a lot of people like them. So
there you go.
That's a thumbnail sketch.
Well, you sounds like you're popular at what you do then.
Definitely popular.
Definitely. Dang. All right, so let's get into the book. Tell us about this book, Jesus and Peter. You've written 4 books, from what I understand. 5. Okay. You're just writing more as we're talking here. So Jesus and Peter, A Different View of Christ in His Catholic Church. Give us a 30,000 overview of that book.
Well, I'm trying to humanize Jesus. I think he's got a bum rap by the media who tried to exploit him. And the first pope of the Christian church was the Catholic Church was Peter, and he was his manager. I kind of characterized Peter as a Mel Brooks character out of The Producers, which was a motion picture some 20, 30 years ago. But Jesus had to be charming. I mean, he didn't have bullhorns or iPods or whatever. He had to speak with people.
Yeah.
And when you're speaking with people, you not only talk, but you talk with your body, like body English. And this is what's missing in the way that the Bible was written 325 years after his crucifixion. It was written at the Council of Nicaea, which is in Turkey, 325 AD. And it was instructed to be written, the Bible, by Emperor Constantine. So do you think there was some politics involved when the emperor was directing traffic on what to bring out and what not to bring out? He had a problem with immigration also. And I think one of the biggest problems was they just keep on coming. All roads lead to Rome. And they came from all over the places that Rome had conquered. So they all end up in Rome, and they starting to get, like our problem, they start to crowd other people out, and they're tough to manage. So
Oh, wow. Well,
that's
there you go.
where we're at.
Now, you talk about in the book, and the book title, it talks about Jesus and Peter, a different view of Christ in the Catholic Church. I wasn't aware of the Jesus and the Catholic. Did the Catholic Church exist back then during Jesus' time? How does that whole thing
What I'm
work?
saying, this is all 325 years after the fact of Jesus' crucifixion.
Okay.
So
now you say that it's his Catholic Church. Is that right?
He never founded a church.
Oh, okay.
My now that you bring it up, the problem with the Catholic religion is that it was largely manufactured out of Constantine's plan for how to make it part of the other part of Constantine's job, which was managing the Roman Empire. So Constantine is melding. What we're going to say, the politics with religion. This is not the first time this has happened. I mean, you had the Egyptian pharaohs and on. So there's plenty of opportunity for creating things and decreating things. So
there you go. So why? So when you say, because the book title says, I'm just trying to clarify and understand this if I could. It says, and his Catholic Church, which infers maybe
that was his Catholic Church.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking about. I'm in the third person.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but basically what Jesus taught was charity. Now, when Constantine got a hold of it, he made charity a right, and that's the beginning of the progressive government of all shapes. So he changes it from a religion into an arm of the empire, as directed by the emperors. Am I clear?
Yeah. And Constantine, and so that's how they I guess build it out. What inspired you to write the book? Was there a particular moment or experience that sparked that idea?
Well, basically, it goes back to when I was 7 years old and receiving my first Holy Communion, and I was giving my confession. This is short, actually.
Yeah.
And
well, you're only 16, so it was a pretty short confession, right?
Actually, it was 9 years old.
Oh, really?
On that, yeah. So I said to myself, why am I confessing anything? Because I didn't do anything wrong. So I said, I'm not coming back here again ever. And that was the end of me in the Catholic Church. And so the upshot of it is religion is one thing, but when you meld it with politics usually takes the upper hand.
Tends to poison everything, politics.
Yeah.
Sadly, it's a kind of like a necessary evil to have. Everyone's got a government these days. It's kind of the thing.
Government's one thing, but when one size fits all, I don't like that. In other words, I'd rather have states' rights than
federal rights,
central government.
Well, there was kind of some reasons that Madison and other people did that. You can read about it in the Federalist Papers, which I wish.
Right, exactly. You bet.
Yeah. Excuse me. Excuse me. So the other question I had for you was, with your research, how did it shape or challenge your original beliefs that maybe you might have assumed or had when you were younger, and maybe how does it challenge some of the beliefs of people out there that are listening right now that believe in Jesus and stuff? And how did you find in your research that maybe there were some challenges there that would be due to people?
Well, I went to St. Ignatius High School in San Francisco, which was taught by the Jesuits. And then I went to the University of San Francisco, which was also taught by the Jesuits. I was an honor student. I took classical Greek language, the classical Greek language. I studied history of the Greek people during that time.
Mm-hmm.
I also took Latin, spoke the language.
Mm-hmm.
The upshot is I learned a lot about Europe. And that was, so 50 years, like 30 years ago, when I was 50 years, I revisited my teaching by the Jesuits. And it's a, long story short, lost my train of thought here.
We're talking about the Jesuits.
Right. Anyway, the Jesuits are excellent teachers, very good taskmasters, and the side-by-side learning of Europe put everything in perspective. The only thing here is the thing that was the only thing different for the human on the planet is there's nothing new under the sun. It's just a question of a new person and a new date, but everything else has been the same.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. Pardon?
There you go.
Yeah.
So the other question I had for you was on Jesus as a historical and spiritual figure. You describe him as naive and vulnerable, yet calculating. Yes. So what did you base that on?
He's calculating because he's trying to get a following. He's teaching charity.
Mm-hmm.
But people misinterpreted that, and they hear what they want to hear. So it's not practicing charity from one person to another. It's for the government to give everybody what they need as a right. And that opens a Pandora's box, obviously.
Yeah.
When you turn over your responsibilities and let it be satiated by the government, whoever that may be at any time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's kind of what governments do. Now, with the teachings that you talk about in there, do you believe that Jesus saw himself as a divine person, or was his public personality more of a necessary performance? I mean, the guy was trying to get followers, and definitely, he had that magic trick where he could turn water into wine. And
well, that's
you want to get people to follow you, you do that. That's what I learned.
Well, that's one trick that would certainly, I don't think you'd have many people trying to duplicate that.
I've tried.
You've tried?
Yeah, I take one of those. I take one of those. What was that Harry Potter book or whatever? A wand or something. And I just wave it I just wave it on the wand, and it never seems to work. But I just put some vodka in it, and it tastes fine. So.
Well, yeah, if you spend enough time at it, you'll get the hang of it sooner.
Probably,
or later.
Yeah.
I don't think Jesus. See, here's the problem, Chris.
He
never wrote anything down. This was all done 325 years later with scribes writing about what Jesus said, did, etc.
Uh-huh.
And that's what the problem is. What did he really say? And then you take it through into the Roman Empire, and you get all kinds of applications, and it's a leap of faith that they do things like that. So anyway, I wrote the book because I wanted to expose that, but I wanted to write an entertaining book. To have Jesus portrayed as a stiff is ridiculous. He should be charming, and which he had to be.
Yeah.
I believe that Jesus existed. I have no question about that. But if you're going to enlist people, or if you just like to talk, you're going to have to be charming in some way. You even buy a round of drinks for that matter.
Well, all the pictures of him, he looks like a really good-looking alpha male sort of thing, but he's got the long hair a little bit. That's a little feminine, but chicks dig that sort of artistic dude look. So plus he was hanging a lot of dudes. But hey, if you're turning water into wine, if you can turn water into vodka, I'll hang out with you. So there you go.
Especially
maybe someone should do a more entertaining Jesus, where Jesus works for Chippendales and dances for money at night, and then saves souls.
Well, if you give enough time, anything's liable to happen.
Okay, yeah, sure. Now, you also talk about Peter in the book. Why was it important to write the book about both the two of them as
Because
opposed to just focusing on
there was
Jesus?
a dichotomy.
Mm.
There's with Peter. God, I just had a thought on Peter. The problem was that Peter show you what happened when Peter was involved. Peter was the first Roman, first pope of the Catholic Church. He was the first and only Jewish pope. Everything that followed him, all the popes that followed him in Rome, were all came from the aristocratic Italian families, starting in those times. So there was only one Jewish pope. All the rest were the Italian families. It's like a mafia thing.
Yeah, this thing of ours.
So that's the kind of puts Peter in where he was situated in the duo. He was trying to make it a business. Jesus was trying to do it as a charity, as making him feel good about people, which he already did. So in the end, both Peter and Jesus were crucified. The only winner was the emperors of the Roman Empire.
Yep. Yeah. Well, they kind of won there at the end when they pulled off that crucifixion, but technically they didn't because his legacy lived on, right?
Well, there's nothing wrong with his legacy. It's just a question of, I guess, when you make charity a right, you go off the road.
Yeah.
What do you think of that?
Well, I mean, technically, they tried to squelch him by killing him, right? The Romans did.
Right.
And, if anything, they've been more powerful. It's like that final scene in Star Wars with Obi-Wan Kenobi. Everyone knows that story's true.
Yeah.
And
but it's entertaining. That's all I'm writing the book.
Yeah,
for.
okay, I get what you. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's an interesting fellow. I mean, people are still talking about him and writing books about him today. I mean, no one writes books about me, so there you go.
It all boils with Jesus. I guess it all boils down to the golden rule: you do unto others what you would have them do unto you. Pretty simple stuff, but
Yeah.
it's too complicated for a lot of people who like to make money doing things that are not legal.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of how the world works these days with everybody and what they're into. So, how did Peter's relationship with the Roman Empire shift the trajectory of Jesus's original message?
He met the people who run Rome. In fact, met one of the emperors. I think it was Nero or Tiberius. I'm not quite sure. But he showed him what the game was. And after a while, once the emperor and his associates got the game down, Peter became redundant. And that was the end of Peter.
That was the end of Peter. Don't become redundant, Peter.
Right.
No, that's a good lesson right there. So there you go. And let's see. Now you mentioned Nero there in political manipulation. How do you think the church uses its roots in Christ's message to serve empire building? And are we talking about the Catholic Church too?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Empire building. You take over a country, and then you give them architecture. You give them. You teach them how to speak the language. But more importantly, you teach them to obey, and you make them, do what they're told. And if you want free, like bread and circus, that was all about free entertainment, so you can get your charity for nothing.
Oh, well, that'll do it. Definitely. Yeah. So what else do we have up here on deck? Do you believe the modern Catholic Church still carries Peter's influence, or is it gone to a different identity?
No, they're all around. We're the same people that Peter was and Jesus was. The human has their own flight or fight. You got to eat. You got to work. All these things are still with us, rightly so. That's who we are. And I'm enjoying it. And you do the best you can and help when you can. But if people want to do something or get something, I think the best thing they can do is work for it.
Yeah. Do people like it if you earn stuff more?
Absolutely. They got a long list and they got their attorneys on speed dial. But if they really want to do something and get respect, do it yourself. See how you like sweating.
Yeah, do it yourself. That I can see how that works. So there you go. There you go. What else do I have here in my questions? Now, you kind of had a thought-provoking, controversial angle. Some might say that your book questions foundational Christian beliefs. How do you respond to that? Because you're flipping them over to Catholicism, if I understand correctly.
I didn't say that. Foundational beliefs. I think
I'm saying some people might say that.
Oh, I see.
Your book questions foundational Christian beliefs. How do you respond to it?
Say that again.
So some people might say that your book questions foundational Christian beliefs because you've kind of flipped it to Catholic.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
How do you respond to those people that would say, hey, what are you doing there?
Well, what about the Inquisition?
The Inquisition.
What do they think about that? I'll just throw it back at them rhetorically. So if they can answer that properly and change my view, I'm all in.
The Inquisition. I love that. What was that song from Monty Python? The Inquisition. That's kind of funny.
They usually covered everything that I covered.
There you go. So let's see. What else do I have for you? So tell us about your journey through life. You've written several books and talked about this stuff for a while. What got you down the road? When did you start writing? When did you know you're an author? And kind of tell us some of your history. When did you first discover religion? Were you raised in it, or were you exposed to it?
Like my first, I was taught by the nuns about the catechism, and they gave you the Bible, etc. But it all was plastic to me. I never took it seriously.
Really?
And then the last straw was the priest told me not to sin anymore. I said, to myself, I'm not sinning. I'm 8 years old. What are you talking about?
What are you doing? Oh yeah.
My business professional background was I used to trade stocks on the floor of the Pacific Stock Exchange. I worked for myself in open outcry. So that was fun.
There you go.
A quiet day would be like 5 or 10 people in the crowd. If your stock got active, there could be as many as 200 people standing around. You had to be loud to be heard, and you have to have the first bid ask response to a quote as they came through the crowd. But even Hercules has to sit down. Every day was a new day, but boy, you got worn out. But it was so much fun. I was down on the floor for 10 years. Made a lot of money. Did fun.
Wow. That sounds pretty interesting. Yeah. And so when did you start writing your first book? You've written 5 books.
2002. The book was just a book of short stories called Where Are the Meek? There was only 12 little essays in there. 9 or 12, but it was just something, you feel like most of the people that I talked to weren't educated. So if I'm going to talk to myself then in a book and just see if there's anybody out there that thinks like me. And they've done, not successfully, but I've got a lot of critical acclaim. So I'm proud of that. And it got me interested and kept me going for years. I'm still doing it. So, and the books will be around when I'm long gone.
Oh, wow. Well, there you go. That's the great thing about books is they do leave behind a legacy. And, people can keep reading long after you're gone. I remember when I got mine done, I was like, great, that's all on paper. What's funny is I've forgotten everything that was in it. because it's
That's
like
the way it
people.
is with me too.
Yeah, isn't that interesting? I would tell the stories all my life, and then I put the stories in the book. Now people ask me, they're like, "Hey, what's your stories, eh?" And I go, "I don't know. Go read the book."
Well, you know what it is? It's like feel in my experience, maybe you've had the same experience. You write a book, but it was a moment in time when you wrote it.
Yeah,
Your mindset, your body English, any way you want to put it, that whole moment went into that book. And somebody telling you or asking you what about this? What book was 20 years old? What about that? Well, I'm not that guy anymore. I
yeah.
still believe in that principles, but the thing that makes people read the book is the way it's written.
Ah,
It's got to be entertainment, or they'll put that book right down as fast as you can walk out the door.
mm.
Entertainment. That's what everything that I've written has wit in it. You got to break it up.
So this book, in particular, also has the entertainment portion of it.
Absolutely. Dry wit. I like dry wit.
Dry wood, did you say?
Wit.
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 Okay, there you go. Dry wit. So let's see, what else do we have on the thing? Why do you think Jerusalem produced both Jesus and
Isn't that a
Muhammad?
question?
Yeah, that's a question there.
Well, first of all, it came from the Bible.
Yeah.
But I think what started that whole episode of two godly figures living a couple blocks away, although there was 600 years in between, with the Roman occupation of Jerusalem at that time, that a lot of people were upset that Rome's in town running everything.
Mhm.
It's none of their business. So the way to break it up is to come in with progressive ideas. This sound familiar? When you have a government that's not listening to you.
Yeah.
So you got progressive ideas, and the progressive idea was this will make Constantine or Nero take another look.
Mhm.
Is that you have to take care of your people. Charity will be given free. This is Jesus speaking, and the Muhammad later speaking about wanting something for free, charity for free, because they deserve it. And that's what basically was the seminal moment for the revolution in Jerusalem, where I think in one episode in Masada, there was 1,000 Jews jumped off a mountain. And that was all because of the occupation of the Roman legion.
Well, there you go.
That's another thing. I studied a lot of history. Very few. I think there's one or two books, the most, that ever mentions Jerusalem. It's never mentioned. It's the only thing that's mentioned is Palestine. That's covered by many, many different historians of varying backgrounds. So I think Jerusalem is basically a local idea, and it's been treated lavishly, and I say mistakenly, by Hollywood in the latest incarnation of what is and what isn't.
There you go. So, what anything more we need to talk about? Anything more you hope readers take away from the book, especially those who are
I hope they get
skeptical
entertained, Chris. I hope they get entertained, and I liked it. People who read the book, they like it. They say it's funny, but they take it seriously. They like my historical references.
There you go. There you go. And if you had a chance to sit down with Jesus or Peter today, what would you ask him, or would you just try and get him to turn water into wine?
What would I ask him? I would probably know them from my description of them. I already know them, and so they make too much of money, Peter, and Jesus makes too much of trying to be a friend to everybody.
Ah,
So that's what I would say.
yeah. Maybe don't be so friendly. Maybe.
Exactly. All that got him was trouble.
Yeah, that's true. He ended up on the cross of that whole business, and it might have been better just kind of sit back a little bit, maybe. I don't know.
You just let it happen, and don't get mad just because it's changing. Just roll with it.
Yeah, just roll with it, man. Just roll. There you go. Well, I can see you have that same wit that you bring to the show as well. Let's see. So what's next for you as a writer? Any new books you're working on? Any concepts or ideas that people can keep an eye out for?
Well, I'm trying to get my screenplay adopted because it's a hell of a screenplay. I've gotten 5 recognitions, and if I get that going, then we'll make a motion picture out of it. But what I do physically, I fence competitively around the country.
Oh, do you really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great sport.
That's got to keep you in shape, keep you busy.
Or does it keep you in shape? If you're not sweating,
yeah.
If you're not nervous, you're not doing it right.
Yeah. I mean, having somebody float heavy steel that could poke your eye out at you, that definitely keeps you nervous.
Well, that's just rattling your cage. You're in the cage and they're rattling it. That's enough to keep you going. But it's a fun sport.
Sounds like my first 7 marriages. So there you go. Lots of cage rattling. But they let me out every now and then I got out at the end. So there you go. Well, final thoughts as we go out. Pitch people on ordering up your books and how they can reach out to you in .coms. Are you there?
Oh yeah, I said Amazon is where it's available.
Okay.
And the Regent Press is my publisher.
Okay.
They're in Berkeley, but it's fun.
Fun stuff.
It's not going to change your life, although it may, but it's fun.
And it's going to entertain you. I mean, that's a great thing about, good books. If they entertain, they lead, and, in the meantime, you learn something and it's fun, even if you don't agree with a lot of things, there's, understanding how the world works, how people work,
exactly
what they're interested in. And, I can talk shop about just about anything. I'm not a master of it. I can talk a little bit enough to be dangerous, and, understanding these concepts of life can help people. Right.
Okay. I'm in and out of my thoughts today. In any case, I think Frank Capra said it. If you're not he's a successful director, and he says if you're not entertaining people, you're not going to. Nobody will listen to you in your book or watch your screenplay. You have to entertain them. Then you can slip in some things if you want to change their mind on certain subjects, but you got to loosen them up. You got to make them feel good about you, chuckle a bit, and then continue the story. There's no plot here where you're trying to nail somebody, but if you want to make a particular point that you yourself are interested in, make them laugh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, make them laugh. That's what we do on the show. You just pretty much describe the show. So there you go.
It's a winning subject.
There you go. So thank you very much for coming to the show. This has been fun to have you, Barry, and very insightful. And I think maybe you wrote a book that maybe challenges some different paradigms or perceptions that people have, or whatever. History is funky that way, right?
Yeah.
So thank you for coming to the show. We really appreciate it, sir.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you. And thanks, Jonas, for tuning in. Order up the book if you're interested. Wherever fine books are sold, it is entitled Jesus and Peter, A Different View of Christ in His Catholic Church, out March 1st, 2021. You can check out the other 4 books from Barry as well on Amazon there. Thanks for tuning in. Be good to each other. Stay safe. We'll see you guys next